if you'd like to join us. Dear Heavenly Precious Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come here today, God. We're blessed with the opportunity and pleasure of serving this county. God, I pray that this county commission continues to serve this county, continues to help grow this county, and support every endeavor that we can to do the same. In your holy precious name we do pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go on the record here.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good morning, and we'll welcome everyone to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is Wednesday, August 21st of the year of our Lord 2024. It is 9:10 a.m. It does not appear we have anyone here for public comment. If we have one of you gentlemen willing to get started with the motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we review and waive the reading of the August 7th, 2024 minutes.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, I move to approve accordingly.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received from the elected officials, department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the invoices as submitted by the various departmental offices, the commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry. That being said, are we in a different position to move on our terms of office expiring? So we'll table that once more. Again, we do not have anyone for public comment. Patty, could you verify that for me, please? Thank you. Okay, we're clear, and so we have a few moments here before our next appointment, so we will be in recess. Okay, we're here now on the estate of Dennis Naylor, file number 10575 with a status update.
All right, so pursuant to our last hearing on July 10th, we referred the fiduciary commissioner, Anthony Selby, we referred it to him as fiduciary commissioner. On July the 24th, he sent a letter to Connie Naylor, who is the objectioner in this matter, objecting to the final settlement, through her attorney, James Milam, requesting his fee to be paid, and then he will set the matter for hearing. So we're waiting on that fee to be paid and the matter to be heard.
Okay. And then if you'd like, we have another estate here at Joe Coffin, file number 10693. Concerning the removal of an executrix. However, you said we have an update and they
Yes, I received
be
a
attended.
call from Jacob Shuck, one of the attorneys in this matter this morning. He said the parties have come to an agreement. He asked that the petition be held in abeyance and they see no reason why they would need to come before the commission again.
Good.
I have a question. Let's go back to the Naylor one.
Yes.
Suppose the lady doesn't pay the fee.
Well, I was going to suggest that you set it for 30 days or whatever, a reasonable time. If they don't pay the fee, dismiss the objection.
But that's what I'm asking is.
Yeah, we're coming up on 30 days. I wasn't for sure if we wanted to do 30, 60, or 90.
Well, Mr. Milam's not been working because of
Right.
health issues, so you may want to give him another till the next meeting. But
Okay.
I would suggest that if they don't pay the fee, then they don't, not really serious about the objection.
Right.
Is that something we need to?
I would just take, I would set it for the next meeting and dismiss it if they don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any objection to that being brought over, so Patty, if that could be placed on the next agenda, please, for the Dennis Naylor file number 10575.
The action would be to dismiss the objection. If they do pay Mr. Selby in the meantime, you can just take it off the agenda.
We'll keep up with that.
Yes,
You have to let them know. I mean, they have to know there's a time frame, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'll let them know. There's a time frame.
We need to keep the time.
Well, that's what I ran through there real quick.
10:10.
Do you have anybody coming for Theodore McClung?
I believe so,
Okay.
yes, I believe the objectioner, and I believe the administratrix has counsel, so I would say yes.
Tried to save you a trip. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That being said, we'll be back on recess. Okay, we're here now with Lisa Strader, the Director of Visit Southern West Virginia, and guests regarding update on annual report and current events. So, good morning.
Good morning. So I just wanted to come visit. I know that I emailed, and I think y'all did confirm that you got our annual report and stuff that is required reporting. But I did bring you a hard copy of our annual report, and this is actually our new audit. This is not the one you received because this is the one we just got. So just wanted to share that so that y'all have it for your records.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
do you guys have our guide? Have y'all seen these, the 2024 ones?
I saw one the other day at the CHAR, but I didn't pick it up, so, yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
I noticed they look different. This is the newest one.
Yes, that's the newest one. And a new thing, we did do our directional map again, and the difference that we made it bigger this year, a little easier to read. We added the where the Civil War sites are and where the swings are, because those are things that we get asked a lot. We print 100,000 of these a year. They go very fast. They use them in a lot of the welcome centers and the hotel front desks. Right now, this is all of our region. Beckley Raleigh County is on the back, but I know I've talked to Tracy and the other counties where we're wanting to do one that's visit and then have the other counties, each of the counties we represent, have their own. This was something that Beckley Raleigh County always paid for, so now that we have dissolved that CBB and we're all one big one, we want to do separate ones for each county. But everybody's represented on this side as it is. So these are very thick. I got a little carried away on the paper. When they give you samples and it's not already on the book, you can't tell how thick it is.
Now, is this barcode? Is that what you don't call it?
That goes to our
QR?
website, yes. The QR code goes to our
Does it
website.
have this in the website?
It doesn't, it's just really to find more information on all the things in there. Now the map will be on our website. This one just came off the press. There is a place for it where people can download it. Right now it has our old one. We are in the process of redoing our website. It's almost done. It's this close. The one feature about the new website that will be good is if somebody's looking for Nicholas County, they can go to Nicholas County, and they're only going to be served lodging, activities, attractions, events in this county. And they'll be able to click on it like this, so all they have to do is say, oh, I'm wanting to go near this area. So they don't, I know people don't necessarily know what county they're in, but they know they'll be able to go by city or by county or by attraction. Honestly, we're at the point right now, we're just tagging everything on our website to make sure it shows up in the right place. They'll still be able to look at it as is, as everything together, but if they want to narrow it down to a certain area. I will say, since our last meeting, Tracy and I have been working together more. We started doing brochure distribution for Summersville. We're getting there. People are still calling her, so she's just having to tell them, hey, they've got our brochures now. But we started doing that. We just got through doing the fair together. We did the fair this year, first time the visit's done it in quite some time. We did it with a group of CBBs because to make it where we could do it. We're hoping to continue building on ways that we can cooperatively work together, whether it be events, advertising, influencers, writers, which we've done that as well. We did host another writing group this year, and we have confirmed We don't do the RFP, it has to come from a lodging facility, but they also have to have a CVB. So we are working on one for 2026 that will be much bigger than the ones that's been here before. It's the Outdoor Writers Association. So we'll be working on if we get the bid, we'll be working on the vans and stuff like that as well. So all that is going to be last year's information. I did just check just our analytics before I left, and over 90% of our traffic to our website right now is new traffic. We've had about 333,000 unique users so far in 24. You know, Google has changed a lot as far as what they can track, but we're still staying, you know, we're still staying good. One thing that we invested in, and something I can probably share with you guys later, is we did invest in Datify for our region, which is going to show us data and the way it's really just trends, because obviously it can't pick up everybody, but it tracks, I think, MasterCard, smart cars, or not necessarily smart cars, any car with GPS that allows it to track, and cell phones, and it kind of shows where people go, their points of interest, how they travel throughout our region. I printed off just this. I just printed off like Nicholas County. It's like the people who are seen in Nicholas County, there's 35% of them are also seen in Fayette County, 27% are seen in Raleigh, 20% in Mercer, and then it goes down from that. So what I'm trying to look at is like what, and I did not bring this down into points of interest, but what I've been trying to do is trying to see how people travel. If they're going to downtown Fayetteville and come to the lake, if they're going to the lake and going to the next, you know, what are their points of interest? I think that'll help us build itineraries and help us know where to, and this also tells us where they're coming from, what cities, what states, you know, how much money they're spending, how much money they make, their age demographics, everything. So this is new for us. We started it just a few months ago. We just got the dashboard set up. It might be something we have to play with. When you make a dashboard, you go in and you draw around a town that you want it to, or you either a point of interest, an attraction, or a town.
Geofence.
Yeah, you geofence different areas, and that's where they pick up. So we kind of did it what we thought, but now that we have the data, I'm already seeing things that we need to take away or add. So I think this will be, as soon as we figure out how to use it, I think this is going to be very helpful. Another thing we did this spring is we hired a person that is strictly doing social media and our website. She's our online. We've already seen growth in our interactions and our followers just since she started at the end of April. She's getting out more in the community. She has a lot more free time. No, it's not free time because it is a new position, and we're not designating her to do other things. She has the opportunity, you know, to get in the van, come out, take pictures, videos, and things like that. So we'll be seeing more of that. We're going to be, you know, she's already started going out and doing more of that, and that's only going to increase since we finally have somebody designated to do it. And I think that's, I mean, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I just wanted to give y'all just a brief update.
Where can we get some of these?
I have them in my van. But you can get them from us, but I do have some if you'd like some.
I want to put some out at the airport.
Okay.
We also do keep them at the.
You got them
I
up there
do,
too?
yes, I've got them too.
Honey, we take those things everywhere.
We're like the Gideons.
We do. I have been told that. It's like no matter where I go, we see these. It's like it's following you.
Hey, that's the mission.
That is the mission.
On this report of 2022 annual travel spend, you know, you have Raleigh at 309 million, and this is a very open question, 309 million, Fayette 164 million, and Nicholas at 39 million. You have any opinion of how we're missing out on capturing some of that travel spending?
Well, so that is a report done by the state. It does break it down, and I can send it to you. It does break it down into here's your total travel spend, what they spent it on. What you see in Raleigh County is a whole lot of lodging.
That's what I was going to say, it's the lodging.
I think that's, you're seeing, if I could, you know, I should send you the report and you see the breakdown, you're going to see that's really heavy. I mean, we have about 2,000 rooms in Raleigh County. And then plus, you know, we don't have a lot of the third-party rentals yet, maybe 100 total. It's not like Fayette, like 500.
Right.
But, you know, we do have, and we have very few cabins, where y'all have a lot more cabins here.
Yeah.
But I think and I'm not sure how well that part is tracked. I know it's easy to track the hotel motel. I know the state does invest in tracking for the third-party rentals. We do as well. We have the key data information. Again, it just pulls Airbnb and VRBO, so it really is, you can't say this is the drop dead number, but it does show you the trends. You can see what's went up, what's went down. But I would say that's a large part of it is.
Well, that makes sense, because
the
Greenbrier's
lodging.
382 million.
Yeah, the Greenbrier.
They've got the Greenbrier.
So far.
For now.
See,
For about 6 more days.
We can all but pull our money together and just go to the court.
I've been trying to start a fund. I'm gonna call you later.
There's a bunch of people I've
We
already
might
like,
have
let's
to put
all
a
pull
Spirit
together.
Halloween in it to get a little bit of revenue, but we'll get started. No, that's good. But no, I
I'd be
appreciate
happy
that
to send you the full
clarification.
report because it does break it down in the lodging.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah. And I will tell you that the report that's gonna come out next time is you're gonna see some different numbers, because once we got the report and I started looking at it, it made no sense to me as well, because it actually had Raleigh and Fayette at the same in lodging. And where we get lodging tax, I knew that couldn't be right.
Right.
So they did go back and they looked at every county again,
Yeah.
and they changed it. And they did ask me, they said, do you want us to re-release the report? They said they would. No. But or they could just, they could correct it with the next one, which they do anyway, because things change. So we'll see the corrections with the next
One
one.
of the big change too is they changed the law on Airbnbs, that Airbnb collects the hotel motel tax back to the state, so that probably brought a lot more
Yes.
accountability for Fayette County's sake.
Absolutely.
Around here, we didn't have that big of a problem, but
Yeah.
Fayette County seemed like.
And, so the third-party platforms are collecting it and sending it. The only issue I've heard from some people, and some people care and some don't. Some people are like, I want to know where this is coming from. Other people are like, it's money we didn't have.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it. It's
Yeah.
money we didn't have. Because they don't itemize it like the individual hotels and motels do.
Right.
It's not itemized, it's just one check you get. But like I said, it's money we didn't have. So we're happy with it. But I do have, like I said, if you ever have a project or anything coming up that you need that type of information, same for Tracy. We do, like I said, we just recently invested in the data file. We do the key data, which is the third-party rentals. We'd be happy to share that. And a lot of people will call us and ask for the analytics from our website as well to see where the traffic is coming from, and the data file will just prove what we already, to be honest with you, it proves what we already know, but it gives us more accountability.
So the one thing I would like to actually have is, we definitely take a proactive approach to the new state park. I think
Yes.
that's gonna be our differentiator, that's
Yes.
gonna bridge that gap, I think, in what we're seeing with the other counties now as far as accommodations and lodging and things like that. So, definitely proactive, not, hey, it's here, I want, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and kind of get those t-shirts out there. Especially with your social media person, if
Yes.
they're going up there and they can shoot a live, do things like that, and get people excited about what they're gonna get.
We're getting a lot of questions about it, and I'm sure Tracy has too. Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions about it, and I know that I've talked to them quite a few times about, when they're gonna have something open, because I was told Memorial Day.
Right.
And then I was told, and it keeps getting pushed forward, and I know it was where they had to run the electricity, and isn't it, I think it's the superintendent at Hawks Nest is coming over, is that right?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We've not been kept very much in the
Okay,
loop.
well, I had lunch with him one day, and I either he's doing that or he's helping, one or the
Yeah,
other.
that's good.
But he was the one telling me about the electricity and how they had to
Right.
run it and everything. So, I think we should be hearing things soon. I see, that's the quickest I've ever seen a stoplight put in anywhere. But every time I go by there, I can see they're working hard.
Maybe if
So-
we don't have solid information yet, we can build that excitement.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, people are excited, people are already asking questions. That is, just like I said, we spent 10 days at the fair, a lot of locals. I feel like the fair, we had not done it in years. We do need to do a follow-up to see how we all felt about it, but I do feel like it was more of a branding PR thing, people to know who we are and what we do, because it was a lot of West Virginians. But we did get a lot of, when they saw Tracy's brochures, that was a question. Now, what about that new state park? That is a very popular topic.
Yep.
So,
And it's supposed to be non-traditional, so that'll be good. It's not, gonna be like any other state park in the state.
right.
Do more of an adventure park.
Yes.
Well, and people have asked me what, and I told, I have tried to explain to them that it's always been a calming destination.
Right.
And now we're gonna have a park that's a calming destination, and that's not something we have, so.
Awesome.
Right. Is that, any more questions? Okay, like I said, if y'all ever need anything, please give me a call, and I'll be back to visit y'all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. We're here now with Dr. Anita Stewart from the Nicholas County Health Department regarding the Nicholas County Health Department Harm Reduction Program, asking for a letter of support. Morning. Absolutely.
Do we need to go?
Great.
Greg?
Yes.
Do we need to go into executive session to talk about that? And they have some stuff they want to talk about in the executive session, so should we just go ahead and go to executive session right now?
If you want.
Good motion.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session per code.
West Virginia 6-4.
Yeah, we always get it.
And if you'd state everybody'd like to keep in the room.
Legal counsel, our legal counsel. And
Almost made it.
Okay. So that being said, there's a motion on the floor to enter an executive session. It is 10:03 a.m. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry. We do stand in executive session. If everyone else would please exit the room. Okay, do we have a motion to exit executive session pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-4? And it is 10:25 a.m. and no decisions were made during executive session.
Motion.
Motion's on the floor. Any further questions, considerations? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry. We are still here with Dr. Anita Stewart from the Nicholas County Health Department, and this is back to regarding the harm reduction program, asking for a letter of support.
Yes, thank you for having us here today. The Nicholas County Health Department is committed to fulfill the obligations as written in Chapter 16 and providing services to meet the needs of our county. What we know here is that we're seeing increases in HIV and hepatitis, as well as intermittent spikes in overdoses in our community. And we know that we have programming that's available for implementation that can reduce HIV and hepatitis C infections by 50% and reduce the risk of overdose of our community, as well as knowing that persons that receive these services are 5 times more likely to go into treatment-related activities. One of the things that we're looking at is to be able to enhance the mobile outreach services that we provide, utilizing the mobile unit that we have available to provide education, life-saving naloxone, family planning services, immunizations, testing for those infectious disease, treatment for those infectious diseases, connection to care, referral for resources, access to clean equipment, and syringe services. We are required by state code to have a letter of support for those services by our county commission, so we come to you today to ask for that letter of support.
And for reference, the letter reads, "To whom it may concern, the Nicholas County Health Department has presented information regarding their harm reduction services and application for licensure per West Virginia Code 16-63-7. The Nicholas County Health Department Harm Reduction Program will provide full spectrum services, including testing for infectious disease, naloxone distribution, and education for overdose prevention, family planning, education on safer sex practices, and reduction of spread of HIV and hepatitis, immunizations, sterile syringe and equipment provision with sharp disposal, referral for social supports, connection to medical, behavioral health, and referral and transportation to treatment. In response to this request by the Nicholas County Health Department for licensure per the West Virginia Code 16-63-7, in response to the needs of our community, we offer our full support for this program. That is the verbiage of the support letter as presented.
So 2 questions I would have is, what if you don't get this letter from support from this?
If we don't have this letter of support, it would reduce our chances for future funding, as multiple funding streams set up from the federal level are pushing this endemic approach to taking care of communities and supporting having full access, whole person programs in communities. So depending on where the person is during their spectrum of care, having all of those things available
What
to
is-
take care of them.
Oh, yes. Sorry. So I've, over the past, since we've started having the discussions originally on this, I've asked a lot of my constituents, I mean, not a lot. We even had a little poll in church the other day of about 50, I think it's 52 people. Some of the questions that came up, those will be mobile units out and about in the community. Is that a fact?
So it will be a mobile site that's designated and has specific licensure for where that service is happening at certain dates and times that have to be scheduled.
So it'll rove through, it won't just be like one fixed location?
It will be a fixed location in mobile services within a community for all of these services.
So I'm going to ask the exact same question again. Is that a fixed location that never moves, that's located permanently somewhere? Or does it move around? In other words, will it be in Craigsville at some point in time?
Yes.
Drennan at some point in time?
There's two separate licensures through OFLAC. One is for a fixed site and one is for mobile services. When you apply for mobile services, you have to list the address and the dates of time of service that you're in that location.
Understand.
Our plan is to do mobile services at specific locations that throughout the community. So using data that we have related to these specific issues in communities that are of highest need, we will designate those addresses and times depending on what that data shows.
So it'll be a fixed address per community that the van
Correct.
will pull up to?
Yes.
Does that answer?
Yep.
Yeah, it won't be, we're going to be in Craigsville and then driving all over the place and doing like door-to-door service. It will be one specific site that we have to have approval for by our licensing agency.
And that'll be a public space, or you'll have to contact landowners and...
We would have to have
they will release
permission
something.
and work with whomever owns that space.
Insurance and all that stuff.
Correct.
And that's what I did communicate, is I thought that it would be, when I say, yeah, mobile, as in, it's not just at the health department, or just in Craigsville, and that's where it always is forever and a day. The second question they had was, there the option, because treatment and recovery takes many facets, there's not a cookie cutter approach to it, is there an option for somebody with religious denomination to be on site and offer that as a
Absolutely.
option? Okay.
That would be
And I've
welcome.
answered that as well.
And in fact, they have been a critical part of several programs. And I know Mon County in particular has a spiritual representation on their outreach, so.
That's what I said, I don't see any reason why not. I mean, because it's not something that's being funded by that, it's,
Yeah.
volunteers.
And we welcome any collaboration and
Right.
support from the community, and that's what makes programming successful here, is that everyone's willing to lend a hand and be part of the solution. That's what's really gonna help our community heal and be well and grow.
So, and there's like a couple of churches where you have like a little mobile food thing, so you
We
can
would
tie
love
that
to
in
partner,
with some-
absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Give a meal out or whatever at the same time. My second part of the question, it was, there's listing here like 7, 8 things, okay? Everybody's hang up seems to be on the needle exchange, which we've talked about that before, and it's, if you bring in 3, you get 3. Is that how that works? It's like a trade-in thing, not just passing them out. All right, the number 2, what's the percentage of all these other services versus just that?
So it's like 5% of the services that we offer. We offer all these other things when they're there. It's really centered on the person and what their needs are. And so not everything is even on there. So if somebody's there and they have a diabetic wound, we're going to look at that. Like, we're going to have the capabilities to look at that. Either I'll be on site, or we'll have other professionals on site that are supporting it. So I just think that we have a lot of communities that are difficult to access. We've done some outreach in Belva, for example. It takes a long ways to get, a lot of time to get there. And so to be able to have all of these services available in one location that's close to them, meet people where they are, meet the needs that they have, I think we're going to be able to better care for our community. It's just a very small part of that. I will say it does get high-risk populations into care, though.
You guys
I just have basically a statement to make. So I've actually polled folks at church and throughout the Cherry Magisterial District, law enforcement, folks who have worked in, and one person I contacted actually worked in one of these before, and not any of my constituency is in support of it at all. And I mean, we're talking across the board. I tried to make sure I got everything I could, and I wanted to make sure that the information I gave out when they talked about spiritual interaction, I said I don't see a reason why not, as long as that's paid for, but I want to make sure I was giving out good information. What I tried to do was put a twist on it that was non-biased in either direction, provide the good, let them determine the bad, answer the questions I could, and literally not one person is in support of it that I've talked to. And me as an elected representative of my constituency, if I go against them, then I'm not actually serving my office in a correct manner. So that's my stance on it.
So concerning the needle exchange aspect, let's say, for example, I'm a user. I come in and I want to swap out needles. Is it just here you go and go on? Do you got to go through a counseling session? Do you have to go through any kind of work like that?
Yeah, so we are partnering with Seneca, and I have a letter of support from Seneca here as well. They will be providing peers and partnership for this programming. Every person that enters the program will have access to all of these services. It's not as simple as just they're going to come in and do those things. And what you find is when you meet people where they are and you build that trust in those relationships, people do go to treatment. They do get tested. You do treat them for their infectious disease. You do help them stay alive. And so, yes, that might be the reason they come in initially, is to get clean supplies, which hats off to them. At least they're not spreading infectious disease, but they also learn not only how to prevent infectious disease and disease spread, but how to keep themselves alive until they're ready to transition, or to, they even just reducing chaotic drug use as well.
In your trips you've done so far in your mobile, have you had the situation you've had to do this exchange already? Is it
Like, if people, are they asking for these services? Absolutely. Absolutely.
and this is kind of an all-in-one kind of thing, like you can't take out a percentage and still get your funding?
To be eligible for full spectrum funding from federal government, we would have to have syringe services as part of that. And in fact, there's several different funding opportunities that you're not even eligible to apply unless you have that service.
And those funds go towards what?
Those funds go towards...
When you say a program, you had stated that that does not cover the cost of the actual syringe itself.
Correct.
So what are we funding with the money, the potential funds that are coming in with that?
Yeah, so that's funding the staff to go out there. It's funding the equipment, because you can buy sterile equipment other than syringes. It's funding data collection and review. It's funding outreach. It's funding the gas for the mobile unit. It's funding maintenance on the mobile unit. It's funding all the different pieces that it takes to execute that program.
But not the actual syringe,
Correct.
that it's a safe syringe program. And
Right.
legislatively, that makes absolutely no sense to me.
That's a federal,
And that's a
I
big
hear
hang-up
you.
as well.
And this is something that in all of our national meetings we've addressed with federal leadership, that it creates a major barrier for programming. So it is something that we're also looking for other philanthropic funds and other non-federal funding sources to help supply that piece of the program. It's very complex.
Yeah, that's a hard one. You could literally call it a safe syringe program, SSP, but yet the syringe is not provided. That's a really hard pill for a lot of folks to swallow. So that's the unfortunate part of that. And as I stated in the beginning, I think if they're properly educated, which is definitely not going to come from me, but if they're properly educated, I think you might gain some traction on that, some support. But as of right now, they're left to their own devices and their own minds. And I think that's going to be a huge part of that integration into the county, is folks properly understanding what all's offered. I mean, that's going to be my standard.
I understand
Education
that, but
is-
it's also,
think
that's just a
16
small piece of the
64-1.
services that we provide when we're out
They
in the
need to
community.
understand that, absolutely. If they're educated in that, I think you'd gain a lot of that. I really do.
Do you have a deadline on this? The reason I'm asking that question is, is kind of go along with Gary's. Maybe if we set up a couple of town halls and educate it, you know, in 2 or 3 places.
Yeah, that's
it
not
might
me
change.
though. I mean, I don't, I can say, it's a syringe program, it's this, it's that. I can't speak in detail like you guys can. I mean, I can't.
No, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is set up something that they can go in, and do you
I
think
think
that's
that
a good
would
idea?
help. I do.
Would you all be, I know you would.
And I've
You
also had.
do interviews on the radio.
Sure, and I had a conversation this morning with Seneca about they are planning some town halls already, and so being part of that, and using this as a topic of discussion.
The thing is, we have 7 fire departments through the county with a conference room in every one of them that, you know, would be probably the best place to start. and do
I don't pull up
something.
anything.
So, the other thing that I would say, though, is that if this county commission doesn't have an appetite to support this, then it's difficult to make that time investment and capacity in that way if it's going to be a hard no anyway. So I think that we are absolutely ready and willing and happy to do education, continuing to move forward, but we do want things to keep moving. We've had these conversations for the past year. We've been doing outreach and talking, we have also been talking to communities and are certainly hearing that there's a need and getting asked for these services.
Is this a permanent thing? If we agree to it forever, you gotta do this every year?
No.
We don't.
No, we do not have to ask for
It's a
county
one and
commission
done.
approval at this time.
Do we ever have the right to take our support away from this?
It's not a financial support, is it?
No, sir.
None.
Probably to prevent financial support, if they're getting money from the federal government, we don't have to pay.
Well, that also is a very important point. Is if we can't solicit funds to support programming that we're charged to do by state code, we're going to be asking for more funding.
So it's not a hard no, and I think when you talk about lack of support from the commission, as I said, I'm an elected representative of my constituency, and if my constituency comes and says, demands that that's what they want, whether I agree with it or not, I have to go with what they say. So it's not a hard no from me. I mean, I can literally show you groups of people, like I said, to include law enforcement, to include somebody that actually worked in one of these. They said, Gary, they give away tourniquets and Band-Aids and the alcohol swabs and all, it's like a little kit that they give you, and I was just like, and they literally did not support it. Absolutely a hard no. So if they all say yes, and this is what we want, and that's all I'm getting in my ear, I have to come here and vote yes, whether I agree or disagree. So I don't believe that, when you come and say that it's the county commission that doesn't have an appetite for this, we absolutely do. We've got $811,000 appetite for this, which is our jail bill for the past year. And I'd say if you look, 80% of that is drug related.
Yeah.
So we've got a huge appetite. The constituency does not. We had this conversation months ago. The same thing I'm going to say then, as I said then, I'm going to say now. It's educating those folks. And that's not something I have the subject matter expert to do. I can advocate.
Or refer. I mean, I would be happy to talk with those constituents. You could refer them to the health department for further education and discussion on the matter.
Hit the churches, hit the
Be
town
happy to
halls,
do
hit
it.
this, hit that. I mean, that's their buy-in that's going to have to be gained, not 3 people. Because I think each of us should represent our district and our constituencies. And I literally had not one yes. That's what surprised me. I can get one yes out of anybody. And I mean, that's across the board, a lot of different demographics I was hitting.
And this is, and I know this puts you guys in, all of us in a position to where, sometimes things that we do in healthcare is not popular. It should not be popular, it should not be that, but it's still what we need to do to address the problem. So maybe, I think having a discussion about how to move forward, maybe this is tabled and we do education. I certainly don't want to put anyone on the spot. I would rather us be united in the front that we present forward. But knowing that this is something that we're charged to do and we're trying to meet the needs of our community.
You're charged by
State code.
that
Could
also
you
doesn't
provide that
the
state
syringe.
code? Because I can't, and legal counsel can't find it on the state
Yeah,
code.
it's chapter 6, it's in chapter 16 and it goes through the different pillars that we have to do.
Yeah, 1663-7, as far as we can see, doesn't exist.
We tried to pull it up and it wasn't,
And that might be on the legislature, but we can't find it on their
Okay.
official website. So if you could
Okay.
provide that, that would
Yeah.
be helpful too.
Yeah, the requirements for certain service programming. Okay, I'll find that for you. I apologize. Probably reference that here. State Code 16643.
64-3. Okay, that's different from the letters here. So let's see.
But this goes through all of the different codes.
Why don't you email that to me
Yeah, I
also,
will.
and I'll get
Absolutely.
it to the commissioners.
Yeah. Sure. This is the copy of the application, if that's helpful. Yeah. That's the code 64.2.
Yeah, 16643 program requirements.
Yeah.
To be approved for a license, the written services program shall be part of a harm reduction program which offers or refers an individual to the following services that shall be documented in the application. So it basically just says how it works, not that we're actually charged with, like we're shorting our constituency on something that they deserve or we're actually obligated by state statute to perform. And I'm not
So we're
seeing-
obligated by state statute to address infectious disease and threat prep, which is overdose prevention.
And I know one of the issues that one of the hurdles that we had spoke of before was that they are required by state statute to provide a valid West Virginia ID. And I think that's going to be a huge hurdle too, from what I know from the recovery issues that I've, or the recovery areas that I've actually helped out in and provided. That's the first thing it said, I don't have a driver's license, I don't have an ID.
You have to have proof of West Virginia residency.
It does state in code that the program may be revoked from the rescission of a letter of approval from the majority of the county commission or the governing body of a municipality. So I found that, but it doesn't say anything about the initial letter.
My suggestion would be to table it, get some more information
Yes,
from them.
I agree.
And address it. Remind me, you have 11 o'clock.
Yes, okay. That'd be my recommendation today, is to table.
The answer to your other question is the building's in the name of the Department of Health. And there is a reverter. If it stops being used for that purpose, it goes back to the city.
So,
The Memorial Commission. Hospital Commission.
and that still exists, the hospital,
I think it's
kind of,
well, there's a, yeah, kind of.
no authority, but they,
Right. Yeah, they still have to sign the lease and the agreements with WVA.
so you want a
Okay.
recommendation of tabling? Okay, I'll make that motion. Do you think we could work together, get together,
I would love to.
do a town hall, a couple of them, and just get a feeling that, like, maybe get some of the people that Gary's talking about in a room and get the whole gist of it, and see if it's a stigma versus what's really, because, you know, you gave me a lot more information on the other services. You know, it's just, it seems to be the one thing. It's like a seatbelt law to me.
Yeah, this is, you know, harm reduction is just like a seatbelt law. We know that that wearing a seatbelt is safer. It doesn't keep you from getting killed in a car accident, but it certainly reduces those risks. And that's what harm
Okay.
reduction is
I'll
too.
make that motion.
Okay, the motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. We appreciate your all's time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're here now concerning the estate of Corbin Fung Jr., file number 10667, regarding a request of the removal of the executrix. If the clerk's office could brief us on where we are at on this estate.
Okay. On June 5th, 2024, our office received a second objection to the estate asking for the removal of the administrators of the estate, Diane Hughes. Objection to the naming of an additional heir, Stephen McClung Jr. Concerns about the lack of communication between the administratrix and the heirs, and an objection to the lawn care claim in the amount of $1,300. This matter was previously heard on April the 3rd regarding the removal of the administratrix. At that time, the issue was the lack of communication between the administratrix and the heirs, and a motion was made then to allow Ms. Hughes to remain as administratrix. On May 16th, Ms. Hughes came into our office to notify us that she believed that there was another heir of the late Stephen McClung, who was a brother to Theodore McClung Jr., the decedent. Stephen McClung Jr. is the presumed heir. No address was given. She wasn't for sure about his whereabouts. We advised to go ahead if she believed for any reason that he was an heir, that he should be placed on the estate. On this date, she also admitted to file the appraisement that showed $179,000 and more worth of assets. I broke it down for you, real estate, personal, and monies. Since the opening of the estate, there have been, well, now we're up to 12 claims filed. And of those, 2 have been paid, which is Jane Care Ambulance and Waters Funeral Home, but that's leaving 10 claims still open, totaling over $17,000. So at this time, with the monies, just the monies in the bank wouldn't cover that. So we're coming up to where now assets would have to be sold to cover those claims. And the objectioner, and the letter is in your packet there, states that Stephen McClung Jr. is now Stephen Palmer, and he was adopted at a young age. And she believes that this was known by Mrs. Hughes because she had previously helped Theodore McClung Jr. with the estate of his sister Susan McClung. She was not appointed over that estate, however, I assume she helped Theodore with the process. I reviewed the file of Susan McClung, and Stephen McClung Jr., Stephen Palmer, is not listed on that estate as an heir. So in light of these events, it seems to be, this is our second time coming here, and it seems to be there's a lack of communication. There's several claims placed on this estate. I would advise that Ms. Hughes be dropped as administratrix and the sheriff be appointed. Also, as an aside to that, as I pulled Susan McClung's estate, there's still an open claim in it. So her estate cannot be closed, and it directly affects this estate in that the property listed in this estate, the 4 acres to Theodore McClung, came from his sister. So there's already cloud on that title. So besides these claims, there's another cloud on that title. Here's the
And
file if
who's
you
working
like
on
the
that
claims on this side.
Is somebody working on that estate too?
No, because Theodore he was appointed administrator over that estate, so he has passed. So I would suggest, if you all concur, that if we send this to the sheriff, we would send both of those to the sheriff to be appointed administrator over both of them, because Susan's directly affects Theodore's estate.
What's the date?
We couldn't even address the Susan McClung estate because it's on the agenda.
No, the executive success
A year
council,
ago,
so
6 months ago.
he may have a solution.
Okay. Let's try to make sure you get yours.
Yeah, no, not years, not years.
How long
It's
is
fairly
the,
new.
how long was the Susan one open since?
Oh.
You get off the
Ooh,
objection.
long time ago. Let's see.
Kevin.
It was initially opened May 20th, 2015.
Oh, wow.
And how long is this one?
That one was open, it should be, that's the new, let's see, this would be here.
There's 1/7/24.
Yeah.
That's the,
That's the date of his death. So, here, sorry. Whoa, taking pictures. So this one was open.
While she prepares that information, sir, your legal counsel,
Yes, President.
if you'd state your name for the record, please,
Kevin Burgess,
and you are representing.
Diane Hughes, the
the administratrix.
Okay, if you'd like to begin.
Yes, we oppose the request to remove her as administratrix. First of all, this is the second bite at this apple, as they say. The first time it was considered was in April of this year. The commission, by its order at that time, allowed Ms. Hughes to remain as administratrix. And as a result, she's done a couple of things. First of all, she's continued to work on the estate. She has maintained the estate. This Mr. McClung's property, the deceased property, is adjacent or near hers, and she has continued the services of the lawn care that Mr. Hughes had, Mr. McClung had before, which was a Mr. Dietz, and that's one of the claims that's been objected to by Ms. McClung. She's also engaged counsel for the purpose of trying to locate and determine whether or not there is a fourth heir out there. Ms. Hughes does not know this supposed fourth heir. The only thing she knows about him is that what the family has told her, that he was supposedly adopted, and the fact that he actually exists because her husband, who was a cousin in the family, had met the man. But we don't have any evidence whether or not he was truly adopted, and if so, is not an heir. And I was in the process of skip tracing the man and see if I could locate him and ascertain whether or not he actually was adopted, when I found out that there was a second petition to remove her as administratrix, and I told her not to incur any further attorney fees until she found out she was going to stay on the job. She does have proposed purchases of 2 items of personal property, which would be sufficient to satisfy the claims that have been made against the estate. I think the claims were $17,000 approximately, and she has an offer to purchase the deceased's truck for $15,000 and to purchase refrigerator, freezer for another $2,000, which would manage to satisfy the claims and leave the estate ready for closure and distribution, except for the determination of this supposed fourth heir. But I told her not to do anything until y'all made a decision on whether or not she was going to remain on it, on the case. So, first of all, I think if Ms. McClung was dissatisfied with your initial ruling in April, she should have appealed that to the circuit court. But as far as the petition that's pending today, we oppose it because this fourth heir needs to be determined one way or another. And Ms. Hughes has done substantial work, has the estate almost ready to settle. She has continued, she and her husband have maintained the property and protected it. I think y'all cleaned up a tree that fell in the... okay, there's a tree that fell in the yard. They've done a lot of work here, and I don't think it is fair to her to remove her now when it's just about ready to be resolved. And she does have counsel, and regardless of whatever communications may be existing between Ms. Hughes and Ms. McClung or any of the other family, I don't have any problem communicating with them. They can call me anytime, night or day, and find out what's going on with the estate. But that's where we stand.
Thank you. And anyone else that will wish to speak before the commission today, legal counsel, we do not have the requirement, but everyone else that wishes to speak today, if you think there's any chance you're going to speak at all, I'm going to do this once. If you'd raise your right hands, please. And do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the matter now in hearing, your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Jennifer? Okay, if you'd like to state your rebuttal, please.
So there was never an appeal filed when we first came before the commission, because we were, myself and my siblings were satisfied with that. It wasn't until we received a letter, which I feel like Diane could have just asked any of us about Stephen. Stephen was in fact adopted when between 7 and 10 years old. I don't remember the exact age, but he was adopted. His last name is not even McClung Jr. It is Stephen Palmer. The last known whereabouts for him was in jail in Tennessee. And the last time that we met before you guys, her and my cousin Daniel both stated that they thought she should remain as the administratrix because she had in fact helped my Uncle Ed with my Aunt Susie's estate. So he's always made it known that Stephen was not to be included in anything. So my question is, if she had helped so much that she needed to be appointed as administratrix, why were we just now finding out that he's trying to be drug into the middle of all this? My Uncle Ed had no relationship with him whatsoever. And that's why, and they had questioned. I don't care about Daniel getting the money for the lawn care. That's my siblings requesting that, because, you know, they said, well, Jen, you know that Uncle Ed paid for anything that he had done. Now this is months later in the winter time when this lawn care bill has surfaced. I don't care either way about that. My true concern is, why is this fourth heir who was adopted 40 years ago suddenly now an issue?
Well, if he was adopted or wasn't adopted, it makes a difference on how the estate's to be developed.
Right, and I agree with that, but everybody knew that he was adopted. Everybody. And if she helped him with my Uncle Ed, with my Aunt Susie's estate, why did she not already know that? I mean, and maybe that's a stupid question on our part. I don't know.
Well, you can't assume.
Very good. Just have a quick question. What's your relationship to the deceased?
Mine?
Yes, ma'am.
He's my husband and I's first cousin.
Okay, so there is some family tie there.
Their mothers were sisters.
And you're not aware that there was an adopted son?
No, I didn't know he was adopted. I just knew Steve had a son. That's it. And I had forgotten all about him.
Understood.
It made me feel bad.
Right.
To forget a person. But we were speaking with Daniel and he had remembered about him and mentioned, and I thought.
And it seems like you're not too much shy on the claims against the estate. Is there a reason those have been held up thus far? The last 10? 2 were settled, 10 weren't?
Yes, and actually one of them is paid off, the truest. I paid it off the day before they sent you guys the letter. So
but the other ones, is there a reason why those are hanging out there? Does that mean you sell a fridge and freeze?
I wasn't sure when to liquidate.
When the cash is gone, in my mind, right? I mean,
Right.
You're out of cash, you liquidate to settle that
There
last
is
tab.
some cash yet, but I also made sure to have enough that still in there for the bills. Because he's got a whole house Generac. I've got the, I've got that. I mean, we turned off stuff, but in the wintertime, I know it's gonna run that fuel out. But right now, I've got it on hold.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm ready to take care of things. And as far as communication, I have read their messages and things. That's all I'm saying.
And you're the one that has the issue with the supposed adopted son being one of the heirs?
Just because I do know he exists, my mother and father-in-law, their grandparents, Ed never mentioned it. Steve, Debbie never mentioned to me that he had been adopted. The only person that ever really spoke about him to me was Stephanie and Michael's mom, Debbie, when they stayed with us. She said he wouldn't mind, and so she sent him packing home.
And you and your
That's
siblings,
last I
none of them have an issue with that 4th division of the state? Or you do?
We have a history.
No, do you have an issue with it? The adopted son?
We don't have any communication with him. I mean, we all know, we are in contact with his mother. His mother is Deborah Palmer in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Right.
We are in contact with her, but
Or information, or contact information.
I can get it to you. My phone is currently dead. I tried to check the time a minute ago, and it's dead. But I can give it to you, yes.
It's caught up, okay. So you are the ones disputing that he actually received anything out of the estate?
Yes.
Okay, and you want him to get what's out of the estate? I had that backwards, I
Well-
apologize. Whatever's legally bound,
Right.
yes. Okay, I had that backwards, I apologize.
If
And the
he's
only
adopted,
reason-
he becomes a legal heir.
That's why there should be a birth certificate, there should be adoption paperwork, there should be some sort of official paperwork somewhere that exists that transaction took place, right?
And it would be in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Gotcha. Which should be fairly easy to request.
Well, not necessarily.
No, it's an adoption.
Oh, I have the minor, yes, it's minor.
Sealed file.
Gotcha.
So, but if I could get the mother's contact information, that would be very helpful in at least getting us started on it.
Yes, sir.
If you can get me your number, I'll have it to you
Yes,
this
sir.
afternoon.
Approximately 3 years ago, Ed come to me, Theodore, and was telling me that he had a nephew that had called him. He'd gotten a job, needed a pair of boots, wanted him to send him some money to pay, so he could buy some boots. That's how I knew about the board. But then it continued. And he was asking me what I thought he should do. And I said, you need to cut him off. He'll suck you dry. And eventually, then I found out that he changed his phone number, and the boy, he never had any contact with him after that.
Anything else?
That issue has to be determined one way or another.
Correct.
That's our point. And she, you know, she doesn't have any love or affection for this proposed fourth heir, and it's not like she's trying to cause trouble here, but she asked my legal opinion, and it is that we have to make that determination of what happened to Steve Jr.
Yeah, and it wouldn't matter whether the decedent had a relationship with him or not. If he was adopted, he has legal
Legal
rights
right.
back to the
Yeah.
heirs. And I can tell you that I'm very familiar with Mr. Burgess, well-respected attorney in Fayette County, and if he's handling the state, I feel more comfortable. I'm comfortable there.
Like I say, I'm willing to talk with Mrs. McClung or anybody else anytime.
Well, I'll take the Commissioner Chapman role since he had to excuse himself. If you guys get along, communicate, you sure will save yourself a whole bunch of money. I mean, that's usually what he says. If everybody get along, it flows a lot smoother. We save fiduciaries, we save additional.
And we have tried, I don't mean to interrupt you, but myself and my siblings have tried multiple times to talk to her, and, I mean, it'll go 3 weeks without a response. I mean, I don't feel like it takes 10 minutes to answer a text.
Understood.
And that's been the whole issue. Listen, I work in communication. I would love to be able to sit down and communicate.
Understood.
And I have not gotten anywhere. If she would have communicated to us about Stephen, this could have been resolved months ago. I would have had no problem saying, hey.
That's where you typically run it through the legal representation, right? Just run it through the lawyers, and that way you know.
Well, at this point, I don't think to my knowledge, at that point, he had not been
Understood.
appointed.
Yeah, I'm just saying from this standpoint, we can't change the past, but we can
Right.
in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
I did make sure to give them weekly updates. If they asked me a question, I answered it best I could. If they made statements that didn't require my answers, I didn't answer.
I'm a communicator. I can make sure that everything's answered.
It doesn't sound like there's much left to be done other than paying the claims and determining whether this gentleman is in fact an heir. And that's going to take legal counsel to resolve. It may require a court order in the state of Tennessee.
And if, once adopted, the parental names would update as well, right? So even if you pulled a new birth certificate or existing birth certificate, would it
Yes.
have the name of the?
Yes.
That might be an easier. way to
Well,
do
we're
it,
talking
right?
about Tennessee law. In West Virginia, there would be a new birth certificate issued.
Correct.
I'm assuming the same thing in Tennessee. But
So it might just be as easy as trying to obtain a birth certificate. to see what the parents'
It may
needs
be on
are.
trial, yes. But he knows now where to look.
Yep. And especially if I could get contact information with some other.
Well, like I said, you'll have that this afternoon.
Thank you.
I would table it.
Would you table it or deny the request?
I would table, give Mr. Burtis 30 days or whatever he feels is appropriate, make a report back to the commission, you can make a decision at that point. If there's no progress, you obviously have a decision to make.
That's true, we would have an open
Yeah.
request.
And you would not have to require these people to file something in addition to that. It also puts pressure on the other side to do something.
I'll make that motion.
The motion is on the floor to table this request of the removal of the executors.
30 days.
30 days, and what I would recommend is the second meeting in September is the 18th. I mean, that is 4 weeks. Do you think that's sufficient amount of time?
I believe so.
I do too, so that'd be good. So we will place this back on the agenda for the Nicholas County Commission on September 18th, 2024. Patty, if you please step back and work with Mary to set that time and inform everybody before they leave. And of course, Brandy will send out notification to everyone as well. Is that okay with your motion? The motion is on the floor. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry, and we thank you all for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Up next, we do have Nicholas County Sheriff's Department Officer Matt Dietz regarding a K-9 seminar update at Nicholas County Veterans Memorial Park. We'll wait just one moment for him to come in. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Morning, sir.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good. As you said, I'm with the Sheriff's Department, but also I'm here to represent the Nicholas County Police Canine Association. We're comprised of canine handlers from Nicholas County, the Sheriff's Department, and the City of Summersville. Looks like Richwood may be getting them a canine at some point, and if they do, they may also be a part of our association. What I'm here for, I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up. Our state canine association has voted to have the seminar held here in Nicholas County in April of 2025. And I'm just giving you guys a heads up, letting you know that we are hosting that seminar here. We have contacted Memorial Park, see about utilizing the park. We had it back in 2018, and it worked out really good with us utilizing the park up there. And that's kind of the direction that the state association wants to go, is to utilize the park once again. We've already contacted them, getting the quotes on the rental of the place up there. And we still have to go talk to Richwood City Council. Summersville City Council's already been spoken to. I'm going to talk to the Board of Education. I'm just trying to get the word out that we are putting this seminar on. We'll have roughly 100 dogs and their handlers here in the county. Be for a whole week. So obviously it's going to help Nicholas County as far as getting the influx of folks in. But we also do some demonstrations with the schools. We'll probably gather up and take one day and go to all the schools, hit all the schools, go to the high schools, middle schools, take our drug dogs, maybe do some school sweeps with the dogs, and just try to get things out and try to make things a little bit better for the kids in the schools, make them a little more comfortable with the officers and the ones that's got the dogs and like that. So that's what we're doing. We just want to let you guys know that's coming in April, and just so you'll know that may something come up that we may need a little bit of financial assistance with, but as of right now, I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up on what we're doing.
How much did the park staff come back with as a rate for that time period?
The initial quote that I've got so far is $1,500.
You guys are, your association, I'm assuming, is a standalone organization. You do fundraisers.
Our local association, yes, we're nonprofit, 501c3.
In the state?
The state's a nonprofit. So,
But it's the Nicholas County Association putting this on, would be renting the park.
we're responsible for the venue, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Another question I had just totally slipped my mind.
I can tell you were thinking.
Yes.
Interrupt.
So I know you had talked about setting up multiple stations, I don't know if I like better words, like a school bus, a car.
Yeah,
Talk about some of the aspects that you have with
What we
that.
like to try to do is we like to have a variety of different things. Some of these handlers, they work in such rural areas, they don't have a whole lot of traffic. When they're doing a traffic stop and they search a vehicle with their dog, they don't have a lot of traffic that goes by. So we set up a station to where it's a scenario that the car drives off, they follow them up beside 19, and they get out and search the vehicle with all that traffic going by on 19. And it's the distractions, gives the dogs and the handlers a little more of an awareness of watching for traffic and making sure that they're safe as well as the occupants of the vehicle. We set school buses up, do bus sweep with the dogs. In the past, we've set tractor trailers up. I mean, a lot of these handlers, they don't get to sort the sweep or search the tractor trailers and the big vehicles like that. So it's gives them a little something different, more of a variety. We do building searches, sweep the buildings.
Cabins, barns.
So, yeah, we sweep the buildings for hidden drugs and the patrol dogs, they sweep the buildings, search the buildings for the bad guy. So we do have that. It's been mentioned, and I haven't talked to our state association about trying to maybe even do a public demonstration to where we can utilize the patrol dogs and announce it so that the community can come out and observe the patrol dogs actually doing their work. Like I said, I've got to contact the state association and run by them and see what we can and can't do, insurances and things like that. There's some things that we just can't do because of that.
So I would actually like to propose a partnership with the county commission and the county associations that you're charged with providing a venue, and maybe take off some of the work that you guys have to do with fundraising. You can focus on some other aspects, like, you know, obtaining the staging areas, the staging equipment you need to do. And I'd like to make a motion that we cover the cost of the venue up to the $1,500 you spoke of. I know you said there might be a fluctuation, it might be a little less depending on the needs of the park. Up to $1,500 to cover the venue and basically work as a partnership with the Nicholas County Sheriff's Department and the Dog Handlers Association. Did I get that right?
Canine Handlers.
Canine Handlers Association, yes.
No, I think that's fantastic. The only question on your motion would be where you wanted to pull funds from.
Opioid.
There is settlement
Yes.
funds. Okay. Any further discussion, questions, anything, any questions you'd have on something like that?
Those
Okay. I think that's a great idea. I think it's something that will benefit the entire state.
Absolutely.
You have some counties that are buying some pretty wild things with their opioid money. But as much as we need to talk about prevention, we also need to talk about keeping our law enforcement safe while they handle things like the opioid epidemic that we do have. So I think that's a pretty good proposal by Commissioner Roberts. And that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. So that'll be good.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry for your wait. We got plenty of business today.
Understand. Thanks, sir.
Do we want to recess and catch a little bit upstairs, or do you want to go ahead and just do the resolution and close out?
We get through the resolution pretty quick, like 2 or 3 minutes.
Go upstairs in the meantime.
Well, I mean, knock it out.
Okay, let's recess real quick and we'll go ahead and put that before we go to another meeting. So at the request of the commission, we do have a proposed resolution to the West Virginia Public Service Commission concerning Appalachian Power's rate increase proposal. The resolution as prepared reads as the following. A resolution opposing the proposed rate increase by Appalachian Power Company. Whereas Appalachian Power Company has proposed a rate increase that would affect the residents of Nicholas County and other areas within its service region. And whereas the Nicholas County Commission recognizes the critical importance of affordable and reliable power for all residents, especially those on fixed incomes, seniors, and low-income families who are disproportionately affected by such rate increases. And whereas the proposed rate increase will place an undue financial burden on the citizens of Nicholas County, exacerbating economic challenges and potentially leading to increased hardships for both individuals and businesses. And whereas it is the duty of the Nicholas County Commission to advocate for the best interest of its residents and to ensure that any rate adjustment made by the utility companies are fair, justified, and take into account the economic realities faced by the community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Nicholas County Commission as follows. The Nicholas County Commission formally opposes the proposed rate increase by Appalachian Power Company and expresses its deep concern regarding the negative impact this increase will have on the residents and businesses within Nicholas County. The Nicholas County Commission urges the West Virginia Public Service Commission to reject the proposed rate increase and to consider alternative solutions that balance the operational needs of Appalachian Power Company with the financial well-being of the residents of the Nicholas County. The Nicholas County Commission directs that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the West Virginia Public Service Commission and any other relevant agencies or parties. Adopted this 21st day of August 2024 by the Nicholas County Commission. Garrett Cole, President, Nicholas County Commission. D. Craig Chapman, Nicholas County Commission. And Gary Roberts, Nicholas County Commission. I think this is well written and well prepared and would recommend passage of this resolution.
Does it require a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion that we actually pass this resolution. Follow the orders contained there within.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion, questions, or considerations? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. And once it is printed on our letterhead. Concerning the next appointment, it was to be with Cassandra Lawson, Senior Project Specialist with Region 4 Planning and Development Council. Ms. Lawson did have a scheduling conflict with the Webster County Commission. She did inform me via telephone on one of our breaks that the City of Richwood, Hinkle Mountain, Little Laurel Waterline Extension Project Resolution 28 does need to be further corrected before it is presented before the Commission, so they do not have that for us at this time. However, we can consider the Hinkle Mountain, Little Laurel Broadband Expansion Project Grant Amendment. This is requested by the State Development Office for a adjustment of funds on their end. This is not a financial change of any commitment from the County Commission. It is just our agreement to allowing the state to work with a couple different funds, and it will not be a net increase or decrease on the funding of this project, and I do recommend passage.
Motion.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. In a similar situation with the Birch River PSD Mill Creek Waterline Extension Project Grant Amendment, this is also a $0 change to any commitment from the County Commission. However, again, this is requested by the Development Office of the state concerning the transition of some funds from older project accounts to newer to ensure that no funding is lost on this project also. And I do recommend passage.
Motion.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. We have addressed all business except for commissioners' comments, and are there any? I don't believe I have any at this time either. So that being said, is there a motion to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission? Today is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, and it is 11:24 a.m.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's on the floor. Any further questions, comments, or considerations? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry, and we do stand adjourned.